Hey buddy, it's your old friend Scott, and this is Let's Talk Tabletop. This week I just wanted to do like a hobby recap of what I've been up to the last week. I decided to do a warband for Brutality Skirmish War game of desperados. Just a bunch of bandits, a bunch of banditos, and have a western theme to them. Now, you should probably know by now Brutality Skirmish War game and many other skirmish games are genre agnostic, and this is where you get the freedom to use whatever models you want, whether they're sci-fi, steampunk, fantasy, whatever, and you can make a warband out of it. So this is a real treat to do. So I started with one model, which was the inspiration for this entire bandito idea, and it's this vampire from Mage Knight that I got a long time ago from a friend. Just gave me a bunch of Mage Knight stuff. Now that I've got the theme for my army, he's going to need some buddies. So I rifle through this massive drawer I have of probably 200 different miniatures from different games, from past games and games that don't exist anymore and games that do exist anymore but I don't play, etc., etc. And I was able to whip up a posse for this guy. I've had this nun for a long time for me, Reaper Miniatures, and I love her. She can come with a ruler or a pistol, but I thought a pistol was too much on the nose. So she is our inside gal, pretending to be someone innocent. Then I've got a Wild West Exodus model with a Kroot head, is going to be one of our ranged people. Then I have a Weird Miniatures, a Malifaux miniature, and then I have a 3D printed guy is the leader of the group. Now I was getting ready to start painting these guys, but this leader here, smoking the cigarette on the chest, he's got the attitude, but something just wasn't right about him for a bandito group. I know he's sci-fi, but that's really not the issue. I couldn't put my finger on it. So I ended up diving back into the depths of my giant drawer, and I was able to pull out a model that I've had for probably a decade. I don't even know where I got him from, but I think he's a War Machine model. This little Napoleon Bonaparte guy has the right mix of weird and also humor, I guess, because he's kind of like a Napoleon guy and he's got a peg leg and all that, but he did have a giant sword that just didn't sit well with me, and he also had an arm with a pistol, which I was not going to give him a pistol. We're going to have to work on that later. Now that the gang's all here, we need to get them on similar bases. You'll see that the Mage Knight guy is obviously on one type of base, so I need to get a different base. They're all kind of beveled, so I'll just go with it. I took a Wild West Exodus base from someone else, and I snipped him off of his Mage Knight base, and finally, with the group, he matches with everyone else, more or less. I know the two different styles of bases, but I wasn't that concerned with it. Now for this Napoleon Bonaparte guy. I thought he would be so cool if he was missing his arm. So I green stuffed a folded over sleeve for his arm, because the original other half of his arm had a pistol and I didn't like that. So now you can even see that he's got a little button pinned up, and I love the idea of that because in Brutality, long story short, when you reincarnate you can get your body parts back, but he was too cowardly to actually let himself die, and he now is disfigured for it. And that's a bit of characterization that I absolutely love. So I primed everybody, there's a picture of them primed, and then batch painting them. I did all of the red for everybody. I decided, because I love that vampire so much and his black and red paint scheme, that I'm going to keep with the black and red theme. While that red is drying, I did everyone's colors. So I like to make people different skin colors because you can be any race or species or whatever in Brutality. So I love the bright blue, I love the Kroot skin. The Nun and Napoleon are basically normal colors for humans. Next up, I went in and blocked the brown for all the leather boots and pants and the white for Napoleon. And finally, I started adding some other colors, such as gold for the leader and the yellow and highlights for the guy with the big fist. Now, a really cheap way to add effects to your models is by using HeroClix. So I got this stupid looking guy and put this energy thing on the fist of the big guy, so it looks like it's crackling while he swings it. Now, you can't quite tell in these pictures, but I've highlighted all of the black with a very dark gray. That's how I highlight my black. And the gunslinger has been repainted and washed and whatnot, but you really can't tell in this pic. And there you have it, the whole team gussied up. I also included a fire burst tip from a HeroClix to the end of the Kroot model as well. And this is how I'm going to stat them all out. So this guy's going to be an Executioner, a melee upgrade, and his name is Roxo. He's the one that breaks the safes. The Vampire is going to be a Pistolier with Flight, and his name is Zloth. And this is Hugo. I did not go with any Napoleon type of name. He's going to be a Tactician, because he thinks he's smarter than everyone else. The nun's name is Helen, and she's going to be the person that is basically their mole whenever they go to do a robbery. She's going to be a skirmisher, so she can run across the board. This Kroot's name is Dibs, because he's the lookout. He's the one that provides cover for them while they're looting the place, and he always calls dibs on the shiniest object they can find. Their faction trait that I would pick would be Reckless, because they are quite reckless. But I really like the attitude of them. I like the scenic bases with the desert tufts of grass and the desert sand and all of that. So very happy with these guys. Let me know what you think about them in the comments. See you next week. Hey, you made it to the secret portion of the video. Thank you so much for watching this long, and I greatly appreciate it. This picture is a bust of Nezuko from Demon Slayer that I painted for my oldest daughter for her birthday. It's like 5 inches tall. It was a lot of fun. I would like to take a special moment to thank all of my Patreon patrons for supporting the show, and they're helping us build the channel, and if you could like, subscribe, share, all of that, and specifically comment. I would love to hear what you've been working on, anything, specifically pictures. It would be awesome. I will see you next week.